Well, welcome everybody to number 7 of No Problems, Only Possibilities. And today we're going to be talking about a tool called What Was the 10 Seconds of Unconsciousness that created this, and upgrading that to a different question. You might see me like doing this a bit. I'm upstairs at Shannon's house, and the view is just amazing, but it's very, very bright. I'll just give you a quick view of that. It's like, welcome to sunny Queensland, and it's the first day that it's been sunny for like a whole week. How does it get any better than that? So, yeah. Now, as you know, each week we do this little chit-chat about specific access consciousness tools, amazing tools. And we just take one tool and we start to pull it apart. Last week was really amazing. If you didn't get a chance to look at that, I suggest you go and have a look at it. The last third of it just completely blew my mind. I can't even remember what we talked about, but it was really cool. This week I was asking, what question could we look at this week that would be different, and what else is possible came up, and that didn't really seem to match the energy. And then I thought of this question was in, I think, one of the manuals many years ago, and it was what was the 10 seconds of unconsciousness that created this? Now, Gary, I think, actually took it out of the manuals, because what occurred when a lot of people asked this question is they went to the wrongness of it. They went to the wrongness of the 10 seconds of unconsciousness, and they were trying to go back to creating, to finding that 10 seconds of unconsciousness, and then trying to fix the problem, rather than how it was originally designed, is acknowledging that you actually chose it. And so that's why I've called it upgrading it to 2.0, because we're going to go beyond what was the 10 seconds of unconsciousness that created this, and we're going to step into the question of have I acknowledged my choice? Now, what Access looks at is the way that we create. There's 4 elements of creation, which are choice, possibility, contribution, and question. And so a lot of the tools in Access are question-based. It's not to get an answer, but to actually get an awareness and to open up the possibilities, which is the second part of the elements of creation. And then there's contribution, which is gifting and receiving. And that is a lot to do with having no judgment, because you can't receive if you have a wall of judgment there. And then, so the question, and then choice. Sorry, I missed that, the choice. So then choice will always create something. And sometimes we choose things and it doesn't create what we thought it would create. When we choose from that point of view, we already have a sort of like an agenda in place. You know, I'm going to choose this because it's going to create that for me. That is not contribution. That's not gifting and receiving. That's not open to possibilities. That's a decision. That's a conclusion. That's an answer. So what occurs is that when we choose really just from the possibility, when we choose from what is light and what is heavy, there is no answer. There is no conclusion involved in that. But it's a muscle that we have to build over time, because we're not taught how to choose. We're taught how to conclude. So let's just do a quick clearing on that so we can move on with our choices. And I'll be using the Access clearing statement at www.theclearingstatement.com. And it goes like this. Okay, so everywhere where you're choosing with a conclusion in mind, would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate all of that? good and bad, right,
Yes.
wrong, pop, corn, ice, short, boys and beyonds. Everywhere where you're choosing that which only matches what you have decided it's going to look like, would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, corn, ice, short, boys and beyonds. Yeah, when we choose from, oh, it's going to look like this. Like when I came to Australia last week, it was really choosing. It was just literally, I got up that morning, booked a ticket to come to Australia, and I think I talked about this last week. I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. Since then, I've now got this wonderful car for only $40 a day rental. It's beautiful. It's taken me all up and down the Sunshine Coast. I've managed to stay at some really amazing places, as you can see with my view. And so it's really been this constant question and choice. Choosing, question, choice. Question, choice. And anything that comes up that is not opening the doors of possibility. In the past, what I would have done would be going, oh my God, it's not working. And I'd go into resistance and reaction, and I'd have a funky day. So I'm just going to tell you a little story. 2 days ago, I had to get my Medicare card because it had expired a year ago. So I tried to ring them. That didn't work. I tried to do it online. That didn't work. I went into the local office. No, you'll have to go down to Maroochydore, which is like a half an hour drive away. And like in the past, if it hadn't have worked immediately, I would have gone into the resistance and reaction, the anger, the force, and all of that sort of stuff. And maybe spent a long time being angry and upset. With this one, it was just, oh, okay, cool. This is not working. What else is possible? Which is a question. And then I'd choose something else. And just by choosing that way, I ended up having a great lunch with somebody. I ended up listening to some classes whilst I was driving. I ended up having a really amazing cup of coffee. My body was really relaxed and I was really happy. So this is how our lives should be showing up. And all of you guys know that because you've all had days like that where you just choose, and no matter what shows up, it's like people can hit you over the head with a 2x4 and it's sort of like, oh, wow, that was cool. What else is possible? And it doesn't even, or you just step to the side and they miss you, because you're willing to be in those possibilities. So when you do choose, what has happened in the past is we have a point of view about how that's going to look like. And if it doesn't show up that way, we go into force or resistance and reaction. Because this is the human way of creating. If it doesn't work the way we want it, we'll force it into existence. That's why we have all this mining and wars and weird things going on in this reality, because it's a human reality, and that's the only way that we've been brought up to deal with these things. So the thing is, when you choose, what actually happens is often a new choice. When you choose something different, all the things that have stopped you from ever choosing that before can show up in your reality. And so at that point, it's, instead of going into the force or the violence of it, you just want to stop. If you want, you can take a deep breath, whatever works for you, yeah, and then go back into question. And the question this week is am I resisting the choice that I have chosen? Or is this part of the change that I have chosen? So often those times when it's like, is because of that roadblock. because you've never been willing to look at that thing before, and now it's right in your face. So everywhere where you have chosen something, and all the things that show up that have stopped you from ever choosing that before, and all of those things that have show up, instead of resisting and reacting to it, can you now just go into question? And everything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, up, corner, short, boys. Now, it's really great talking about these sorts of things, and we all know that we even know it at gut level. That's why you're all sort of sitting there nodding your heads and smiling, because you know this, and yet we do not embody it. So everywhere where you are only willing to receive this conceptually, rather than actually embody it, can we now destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, corner, short, boys and beyonds. And everywhere where we've misidentified that embodying it means that we have to embody it in a human way, that is, i.e., that is force and violence, can we now destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, corner, short, boys and beyonds. The human way is to activate your body through things like anger or fear, and what you do is you activate your adrenal glands, and then you're really wired. You're wired for fight or flight. Now this is totally a human point of view. As a humanoid, you don't have to do that. You can be more in the choice, possibilities, contribution, which is gifting and receiving. And you can use anger, but you don't have to activate the flight within your body. So everywhere where you are engaging the human reality of the fight, flight response systems, would you now be willing to give that up and destroy and uncreate it all, please? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, corner, short, boys and beyonds. When your body is relaxed, you're actually receiving much, much more. And so when you're receiving more, you're being more aware. Your spherical awareness is 500 times greater than when you are actually, that's Max in the background. Hey, Max.
Hi.
Woo! This is Max Zulik. If you don't know him, he's an amazing facilitator of consciousness.
Oh, thank you.
Quite sexy too. So when we're receiving, it's like we don't have to function from that flight, fight response, because we'll be receiving when somebody is flowing a judgment at us, or if somebody's going to hit us with a piece of 4B2, and we won't be there because we're receiving it without any judgment, without any point of view, and you can just step aside. Now, physically, I know that this is true, because when I was playing with the Access tools 12 years ago, I was walking along the road in North Cairns, and there was an Aboriginal. He was very drunk. He came up. He went to punch me in the back of the head, and just as he did that, my body just jumped to the right, and he did it with such force that he missed the punch and fell over on the floor, which was quite funny. And two policemen jumped on top of him immediately, and I just continued walking. Now, I didn't see him. I didn't hear him. It wasn't because I was functioning from this reality of pain, suffering, and glory, and ready to activate my flight stuff in my body. It was because I was relaxed and willing to receive, and my body just knew to jump. It was quite funny because literally it just jumped to the right, and this punch went choo. So everywhere where you have brought the human reality of flight, fight, everywhere where you've embodied it, would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate it all, please? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys, and beyonds. So, choice creates. When the roadblock comes up, is this part of the choice? Am I resisting the choice that I have chosen? Pardon me. Everything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys, beyonds. So, any questions? Because I've been doing a lot of quack, 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 quack. No questions? Any answers? Any points of view that you'd like to bring up?
Hi, Liam, it's Mary. I just, when you asked the question, what choice did I made with that 10 seconds of unconsciousness? Just what was brought up, it's when I choose to have a body.
Yeah, that's why I don't often use that question now, because notice how often do you make your body wrong? A lot, a little, or megatons? Yeah.
These last few days, megatons, but maybe because I will receive a 3D body class, my first 3D body class this weekend. And I observed that in the last few days, a lot of things about my body were coming on my face.
Yeah, exactly. So during the body class, did you make a different choice?
It's next weekend. The class.
Have you already made a different choice?
Yeah.
Well, see, this is the thing especially with these sorts of classes. Like I see Karen there is putting her thumbs up, and like Karen is one of my hosts for Talk to the Entities in Canada, in Toronto next year. And did you like the way I managed to get that out really smooth? We've already got some people that are interested in it, and they haven't totally chosen it yet. But as soon as they choose it, all of this stuff about entities will start to come into their reality. And it's the same with you choosing a body class. As soon as you choose that, all of the stuff that you have never been willing to look at with your body starts to show up in your reality. So would you acknowledge the choice, please?
Yes.
Rather than going to the 10 seconds of unconsciousness 4 trillion years ago that it's a wrongness to have a body. Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys, and beyonds. Yeah. Cool. So when you're having stuff come up in the body, like I was talking about my Medicare card. I went to the doctors the other day because I've been having this thing going on with my body, and I haven't been able to change it yet. So I asked my body, do we require some more information here? And it said yes. So I went to the doctors not to get fixed, but to get more information and awareness. And whenever I do it from that point of view, it's always an amazing experience. Like I went to this doctor and he was so cool. Like he actually asked questions. He was actually interested in me as a person. He was fun. He was light. He was jovial. I could say to him, he was saying, I think we should do some blood tests. And I said, no, I don't want blood tests. Oh, okay, no worries. And then we were looking at maybe it could be a kidney infection. So I said, well, can you just give me some antibiotics? Yeah, sure, I can do that. So he was willing to give me what I was willing to ask for. And there was no point of view there. There was no rightness. There was no wrongness. We had a good laugh and a joke. His secretary was amazing. I didn't have my Medicare card. That's why I had to go and get it. So she said, oh, don't worry about paying it. As soon as you get your Medicare card, just come in and we'll fix you all up. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Like stuff like that. It's just really easy. And so this is when you actually engage your body, involve your body in your choices, you can have a totally different reality. So over the next week, Marie, if you're willing to keep on, and everybody else, if you're willing to start engaging your body, you know, like some really simple things like, what would you like to wear today, body? You know, what would you like to do, body? What choices would you like to make, body, that I have not been willing to make? Lots of really interesting questions that you can ask. And this is something that has been really, really cool for me over the last couple of weeks, is that it's like, this is the fun of asking questions. It's actually fun to be aware. And how many of us have made it that being aware means that you have to receive all the pain and suffering in the world, rather than, oh, it's fun being aware. So everywhere where you've made being aware is being aware of only the pain and suffering, can we now destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Good and bad, right, wrong, papa, corner, and short boys and beyonds. What if awareness was fun? And like, I've just had so much more fun and joy in my reality just by constantly choosing that. And any time that something comes up, which is heavy, yeah, you all know the feeling of heavy. It's or I'm thinking a lot, I will ask a question, and then I will choose. Right, I'm not choosing that. What else can I choose here? Oh, I can choose happiness. So maybe happiness is not your thing. Maybe you want to choose something else. So what would you like to choose? And over the next week, ask that question. You know, what's my priority? What would I like? What do I truly desire? I made that choice 8 weeks ago to be happy. Ooh, and boy, oh boy, did some stuff come up that was like road bumps. Yeah, they felt more like mountains sometimes rather than just a little hiccup. But that's the time when you have to go into the question. Yeah, otherwise you get bogged down in all the wrongness of it. So stop. If you want to, take a breath and then choose something different. And it can be a question, what other choice do I have here? And everything that doesn't allow you to do that, be that, can we now destroy and uncreate that? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, corner, short boys. Well, we're almost done. So are there any other questions that you'd like to ask that you haven't asked, that you'd like to leave till the last 10 seconds because you're a humanoid?
I have another question. If it's when you ask the clearing, what do we truly desire?
Yep.
The energy of what I truly desire seems to be so far away from me that I don't perceive what I truly desire. It's not a question about can I have it? It's I can't perceive the energy of what I truly desire.
Okay. So is that light or heavy, what you just said?
Heavy.
Okay, so there's a lie there. What's the lie, spoken and unspoken?
In fact, I can perceive it, maybe, but I cut.
Yeah.
As soon as I
Cool.
cut.
Well, I can't perceive it as a lie. All the I can'ts, can you now destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Popcorn, nice short boys. What are you creating with I can't perceive it?
It's to avoid the fact that I am afraid to be not able to create that. If I perceive what I truly desire, I am afraid to not be able to create and to have that, to actualize that. in this reality.
Everything that is, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? Good, bear, right, wrong, pop, corn, I short boys, meals. How many of you don't ask the question because you're worried that if you ask the question, someone is going to say no? No. It's like when we're kids and you want that ice cream, but you don't ask the question because you know you're probably going to get a no. So we learn never to ask the question. We learn never to go after our desires because somebody has always tried to stop us.
Or you have to face the truth.
Yeah, or you have to look at what's really true. So everywhere where you're unwilling to be brutally honest with yourself, will you now destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Good, bear, right, wrong, pop, corn, I short boys, meals. If any of you guys have ever had something that shows up and it's like, wow, really light, and you know, it opens up your reality, and you know, you've all had at least one day like that, or a couple of weeks, or maybe you met a man or a woman, or it was a job, or it was being school captain, or whatever it was for you. You've all had at least one of those, yeah? So that's because you had chosen it. So everywhere where you have not been willing to acknowledge that you chose that greatness, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, corn, I short boys and beyonds. And it's because you desired that so much that you went out and created it. If you don't desire it, you won't create it. It's the way humanoids function. Have you noticed that when you say yes to a job, but you don't really desire it, that job will last maybe 3 minutes to 3 weeks, and then you're over it. You don't really put any effort into it. You don't care whether you turn up on time, and you don't take care of the details. You keep forgetting about it. I know that there was a radio show that I was on for about a year in Australia, and I kept forgetting the time. I didn't really want to be on it. You know, it wasn't something that was something that I really desired. So Marie, instead of saying I can't perceive what I truly desire, why not turn that into a question and ask the question, you know, like, what is it that I truly desire? You can keep asking it and it will start to show up.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you say I can't perceive what I truly desire, you're creating all the places that you won't be able to perceive it, rather than being in question and it showing up.
Yes, maybe because as soon as I ask the question, I want to receive.
Yeah. You're impatient. Yeah, I've asked the question. I want that yesterday. Yeah. So everywhere where you are, and that's not a wrongness. Why do you think the great art and the great music and the great politicians and all the great things that have shown up in this reality are because of people like you who want it right here, right now, and I'm not going to take anything less. Now, it's not a wrongness, but don't beat yourself up if it doesn't show up in the time frame that you've set. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Cool. And everything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Good, bad, right, wrong.
Yes.
All nice, short boys. Because every time you go, oh, it hasn't shown up. It didn't show up. I asked yesterday and it's not here now. I asked for $1 million yesterday and it's not here now. You've just stopped all the energy of your ask. And so that $1 million goes further and further away from you. Cool. Well, you've had your half-an-hour injection. What else is truly possible? And what choice have you made that you have not acknowledged, that if you acknowledged it would allow you to receive? And everything that doesn't allow that, can we now destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Bear, right, run, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys and beyonds. I'll see you next week for another fun, exciting exploration into the tools of access consciousness.
Okay, great.
Cool. See you later, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.